Well, she's with us here this morning. Kemi Badenoch, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Laura.
So there are signs there that the public is becoming more convinced by you as a leader. But when we look at last week's results, and it's the first time we've spoken to you since those results, you are still going backwards when it comes to real votes. And you told us in March you were going to gain seats at the local elections. You lost more than 500. Why were you wrong?
So we did move forwards from last year. We can't compare to 5 years ago. It's multi-party politics, not two-party politics. But what we are seeing right now is a very frustrated public who are voting for protest parties. And what I'm trying to say is that the Conservative Party is a new party, new leadership. This is not about personalities. We're spending a lot of time talking about who's popular, who's popular. Being popular is not the same as governing the country.
But you have to be popular for people to vote for you.
So I remember going into my first election as an MP, going into that election 2017. Theresa May was very popular at the beginning of it. By the end of the election, she wasn't. We are spending far too much time on personalities. You look at the mess that Labour are in now. This is because they think that winning elections is the same as running a country. Will Andy win Makerfield? That will show that he can do this or do that. The country is not being governed. It is governable. It's not being governed because people do not have a plan. That's why I'm talking, as I did last week, about here's what we're going to do on welfare. We're going to strengthen defence. We're going to drill oil and gas in the North Sea, get our energy supplies back. I'm not hearing any of that from Andy Burnham. I'm hearing about how popular he is. Same with West Streeting. This is the real issue.
But in terms of your own party, in order to be able to enact any of the plans that you have worked on, you have to get elected and you have to persuade people in greater numbers. And when it comes to the results last week, you were 4th in Wales, you were 5th in Scotland, you lost more than 500 council seats. Now, that does not show that you are making progress.
Laura, we won councils back from Labour, Westminster and Wandsworth. Reform had targets.
Lost 6.
If I may, we lost seats in places like Essex, Suffolk, Norfolk. Those counties are being abolished. People told me on the doorstep, it doesn't really matter. We know this isn't real. These councils are...
Votes don't matter.
No. That's what the voters themselves said, that this council is not going to exist. This is a free hit. They're being abolished. What I'm saying is that what happens at local elections has no bearing on what actually happens at general elections. We all know that. We've seen lots of people win council seats. Liberal Democrats have done this previously and they're not gone into government. Let's stop talking about elections and start talking about the problems the country is facing.
Hang on,
there are people out there, and I know you want to say that everything's terrible, we're not going to win. The last oppositions have been 14, 13, 18 years. I've been doing this for 18 months and people can see that there is progress. We will do this in 4 years. But what I'm saying is that there's only one party that actually has an agenda for the country, that's talking about the country rather than its own leadership crisis or sleaze scandals around money. That's the Conservatives. We're the only common sense party.
Forgive me, it sounds like you are dismissing the votes of millions of people last week. And votes are the public's message to political parties.
No, what I'm doing is challenging your analysis. I have said that we have done better than we did last year. Obviously, we're not doing as well as 2021 during the vaccine bounce, when Boris Johnson was winning seats like Hartlepool, which we never won before. That even in good times, we would likely have lost seats. What I am saying is that right now, there is no agenda for this country. There was a King's speech last week given by a Prime Minister who's unlikely to see out his term, where they're actually talking about banning the drilling in the North Sea even more than they've done already. This is ridiculous. No plans to cut welfare. We are spending about twice on debt interest what we're spending on defence and education. I'm very worried about that. And yet we keep going back to, well, how many council seats did you win? This is not what people are worried about. They are worried about the country, our standing in the world, whether we're going to survive, whether we're going to be cohesive. And I am saying the Conservative Party is the only party that is actually talking about those issues.
But forgive me, the way that the public communicates with political parties is how they vote. That's why I'm asking you these questions, because while you have had improvements in some of the polling, when it came to real votes, the Conservatives went backwards in some parts of the country. And
when it comes to a general election, people vote differently. I'm not dismissing local elections. We've won some councils. We've taken places that we were not expecting. We took some seats back from Reform. There is still a long way to go. I'm not pretending that there isn't. I'm not saying the job done. There are a lot of issues which meant that we were removed from office. You talked about them previously.
Sure. And the reason I'm asking about it is because it's the first time we've had you with us since what was a really big set of elections. But there are other things that we would like to talk about. You've had, direct experience because you were in government when the Conservatives were cycling through leaders. I just wonder if you had any advice for Keir Starmer's ministers about what they should do in this predicament.
So what people are misunderstanding is why we had those crises. Having a plan to win, but not a plan to execute and govern always causes problems. In 2019, we won a landslide to get Brexit done. We left the European Union. We became popular because we delivered that one thing. But there were other things where we didn't have a settled view on. How we were, house building. COVID, of course, created lots of difficulties and differences of opinion. The Labour Party is the problem. It's not Keir Starmer or Andy Burnham or West Streeting alone. It is all of them. Just listen to Jess Phillips. That was an incoherent mess. That's one of their former ministers. That's somebody who's going to be picking the next Labour leader. She can't articulate a brief, which she has held for nearly 2 years. She's talking about West Streeting wanting to do, being more popular. Maybe they'll have an election. This is a game
but I'm talking about the Conservative Party and actually what happened during your time in office.
You asked what my advice for Labour ministers was.
Well, indeed, but the time actually when you were in office, the two big moments when the public turned away from you were actually over Partygate and then when Liz Truss's, short tenure caused disruption in the economy.
But also because we were not delivering. We were focused on internal dramas and we need to start settling these arguments before people come into office.
Would you prefer...
Politicians need to be able to make difficult decisions. And if you just want to come in saying you'll do nice things and not talk about the tough stuff that you have to do, you will become unpopular. I predict that if Andy Burnham wins and becomes leader, he'll become unpopular very quickly because he's going to have to do some difficult things.
Who do you see as your main opponent, though, now? Reform or Labour?
Everybody is an opponent. Reform, Labour, the Greens, the Liberal Democrats. Multi-party politics means every party is a threat in different places at different times. And we are different from all of them because we have a different agenda from all of them who want to spend more, borrow more, nationalise more. All those parties have something in common.
Who would you prefer to win the Makerfield by-election? Labour or Reform?
Honestly, in terms of what's going to happen to the country, it won't make that much of a difference in the long term. Both Labour and Reform are run by two people.
Hang on, that by-election may well decide who the next Prime Minister is.
But I just said that it doesn't matter whether it's Andy Burnham or Keir Starmer. The problem is the Labour Party. There's another by-election that's taking place in Aberdeen South, where people in Aberdeen have been telling me that their country is going to the dogs because Labour is destroying it. We're going to be fighting that very, very hard because there's an agenda around oil and gas, which I think is really important.
And it is an important issue, absolutely. But if that message is persuading people, I'd remind you the Tories were 5th in Scotland.
So let's see what happens. In the North East, we were not 5th. Let's see what happens. But my point is that this by-election is about a Labour crisis, not a national crisis. Keir Starmer may go, Andy Burnham may replace him. Nothing's going to change for the next 3 years. It's still Labour. They are the problem. That's why we need a party that is the alternative to Labour. That's the Conservative Party. We've got a plan to bring down welfare. We've got a plan to get more energy, make people's bills cheaper. That's what people want to hear about.
And just in another surreal moment of 2026, the American star Nicki Minaj shared one of your performances in Prime Minister's Questions this week, saying that one day there'd be a film made about you like there was about Margaret Thatcher. If there were, who would you like to play you?
I haven't thought anywhere near that far. I have to have a look. I think it's very flattering, Nicki Minaj saying that. I do like her song Starships.
Any of the others?
Any of the other songs? That's the one that I know. That's the one that I know. So I'll stick with that one because I do like it. It's flattering. I think they're not used to leaders, presidents being held to account the way that we do so in Parliament. It's one of the things that's really special about this country. And we're Conservatives. We believe in those traditions. We want to keep them. They're very important.
OK, Kemi Badenoch, thanks very much indeed for coming in. It's been a very, very busy week and we appreciate your time. Thank you. Well, then let's go and have a final word with our trio.